Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Koof and Hoof with your host, Hoof. Today we're just going through the new burst mode with the Beerus, I believe it is, the Dokkan Festival Beerus event. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this event. This is the method I've done it. So these are the options I've selected for the event. Just feel free to go through it all and look it through and see what you think. There are a number of ways again, so feel free to do whatever you like. I ended up doing another run, which was actually quicker than this one here. This one took longer. There's like an extra 4 minutes as opposed to the other method, which was... I think it was like 4 minutes faster, which I got to round 28 with this one, or turn 28, whereas the other one I got to turn 17, 18. So if you're looking to do a bit quicker, you can adjust it to these other settings that I'll have also up here, and you can just have a look at that. Now, this event is pretty simple. I think everyone's been having minimal trouble with it. The team that they allow you to use is like Join Forces or Legendary Existence. Both are really good categories and have some really good characters, and because they allow you to use physical and int, you have a plethora of really strong defensive units. Now, what's important to note is the method I'm doing this is slower but gets the job done. It kind of revolves around more of a defensive-esque based style, whereas some people might bulk the attack and, you know, it's attack for attack, but I just don't see the point of doing attack for attack, so I honestly just leave it as more defensive, if anything, and then I just don't worry about attack. That's usually how I do all of these, and that's how I guaranteed my points, but you can do it however you like. What's also important to note about this is that the first round, Whis will always seal someone, and on top of that, will always super. So he double seals, so he seals through, obviously, just selecting a character on rotation. Then when he super attacks, the character he super attacks will also get a sealed effect. So if he seals in slot 1, then that's just too bad, okay? So obviously they've provided the good teams, as I mentioned just before. With Joint Forces, there is a plethora of units you can use. I've decided to use the, obviously, Goku, Vegeta and Trunks as my leads, and then using the 8th year and 7th year as well as the 3rd years. Now, in this run here, I don't have a 6th character purely because I couldn't fit it in, because one of the selections was, I think I could only have a certain limit of team cost. That's the one. And so I couldn't have an extra character. The extra character I do put on in the next time I do this, which, again, I'm not going to show, unfortunately, but, you know, I'll show you what I did in it. It was the GT, Trunks, Pan, and Goku. And the other method that I try, because there's more of an attack buffing the characters, they do a bit more damage. But the team is pretty tanky as it is when you've got the 8th year, the 7th year, the Trunks and Vegeta, as well as the 3rd years, so they all tank dodge pretty well, okay? The final stage in this event varies between STR and physical. Now, what's good about using the Legendary Existence as opposed to the Joint Forces like I'm using here is the Legendary Existence has more int characters, which is better for, obviously, the STR phases during that period. Whereas, you know, when you get to the physical stage, physical period, you know, which is like out of his rage, or when he's in his rage mode, then, you know, it kind of a bit difficult, but you make it work. Either way, though, this doesn't seem like too hard of a burst mode. Me and Koof were deciding if we should make a video on this, and we decided to. May as well just show everyone how it can be done. The different methods. You can go to other YouTube channels and see what they've done as well. This is just the method that I've chosen to do, and this is how you can almost guarantee yourself the win. And let's just say you don't even have these characters here. You can make other teams around it. So you can use other Joint Forces characters and make a team, because there is another good few amount of characters, you know, on these teams. Now, the point cost you have to get is 6,000. So as long as you get 6,000, it doesn't matter. Get it, and then you get all the rewards. Now, there's 20 missions to which you have to complete. Now, the first 19 will consist of using one of the teams and doing everything else, so getting the 6,000 points. But then there's an extra mission just to do with the other team. So what I recommend is you purely just do the 6,000 with one of the teams, get it all out the way, get all 19 missions complete, then do a rerun with the other team with no stats, just make it nice and easy, and then you get all 20 missions. But that is how I typically operate with it, and it typically works out for me. I've never once not successfully done a burst mode. The hardest burst mode had to be the last one with the, I would say, the Vegito. The Vegito was, it was a dirty boy. It was either Vegito or it was the Gogeta. Either way, they were vicious. Well, they were very strong. Alright guys, so we'll just finish it off here with the 8th years doing the last attack, and we'll move on to the next phase, okay? And done. Alright, now we move on to the next phase. Now, the next phase is the STR. Now, this is where it goes from STR to physical back to STR. So it varies depending if Beerus is in his rage state or not. Now, I remember when I originally done this, I thought, oh, is there a countdown? And I was like freaking out. I'm like, I'm going to die. Like, I'm not going to do enough damage by the time this happens. But it doesn't have a countdown, thankfully enough. And so essentially, you can just take your time with this, keep going through, and then you'll find that you'll get it done. Now, I actually found that the biggest clutch character in this entire run was the GT 7th years. Purely because once you transform into Gogeta, the damage output is insane. Plus, the fact that he can crit, and he has super effectiveness. So, you're doing fine if you have him on the team. And obviously, with this team being so tanky and defensive as it is, with them collecting building their defensive stats, it's really helpful, and you can just kind of put them wherever. I'd recommend kind of running it like this, where you have the Trunks and Vegeta, then the 7th years, then Trunks and Vegeta, and then the 8th years. What you'll find is that they'll do some good damage. Now, I also got really lucky with this Cyberman. He does take quite a bit of damage. Do keep that in mind if you do run it like this method, where you might not have every character, or you might not be able to handle the attack output, so you just want to put more defense, but then you also have to account for the score. So I did get lucky. Just keep that in mind. I wouldn't always recommend doing this method. In fact, the other method that I have suggested, I recommend, just because you can get all the characters that are actually proper Dokkan Fest and LRs, whereas the Cyberman is just going to get copped, and he does get copped. Like, thank God he only got attacked once in this rotation. Otherwise, I'd probably be dead if there was a whole bunch at the back, or I'd have to organize it where the Cybermen stay on the rotation, and I don't want to really do that. This event can go for a while if you do it like this. As I mentioned, you can go for quite a number of rounds, as you saw there, 2000k, so a lot of damage. Now we move on to the rage state, which goes into his physical. Now, obviously, this is where the physical units will kick into gear a bit more. Now, I decided to pop the GT 8th years, 7th year to get Gogeta going, and because I saw that it was an abundant amount of orbs on that left, and I'm thinking, if I can get all those orbs to Gogeta, he'll get max key and he'll just do damage. So I transform with him. Now, unfortunately, we're not under the threshold, so I can't pop off his active skill just yet, but that's fine. We can pop it off a bit later. Now, I do notice that we do have a Dokkan attack as well, so I'll obviously put him in slot 1, give him that 8 key sphere orbs. Now, unfortunately, we don't get him to 24 max, but that's totally fine. He'll still get that disable effect, and he'll also get some good attack power off. Oh, and he gets a counter. Beautiful. Beautiful, good. And a crit as well. Now, we give him the Dokkan attack. He should do some good damage here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mil. All right, that's good. That's really good. Now, I thankfully have my 7th years, both of them with 2 dupes each. So they're both pretty strong, and they both have their full kick going. So they'll do some good work here. I'm very happy to see his performance in this. Now, this goes on for a while, so I'll just skip it along to when we get to the end of his rage state, which obviously goes for three rotations. So we'll quickly go through that, okay? Once again, we have only one Cyberman getting attacked once, which is great. Now move on to the sleeping stage, is what it is, essentially. And we get our heal off from the 3rd year, which is great. That's another good thing about bringing the 3rd years. If you do find you're low on health, you will also get this, their revival off, and that's awesome. So this is his sleep state. You only get 3 charges, which implies that you only have 1 rotation to do some good damage. If you don't, that's fine. You just go back to when he's prior to his rage state, and then you kind of rinse and repeat until you finish him off, okay? Now, with the obviously reducing the defense, and you can put more characters in your team, and then putting a bit more attack in the other method, what you'll find is getting through this is a bit quicker and a bit easier, but at the end of the day, it doesn't particularly matter just whether you have the patience to do this method or not. It's up to you. If you don't have the patience, go for more attack, but you might get swiped, so find out. As I say, fuck around and find out. So we'll just go through this, and I'll just show you this rotation here, and then it'll show and go over back to his non-rage state, / non-sleeper state. And then what I'll do is I'll just skip right to the end and show you us finishing this, and show you the number of turns it took, and as well as the amount of time it took. Yeah, so as you can see, guys, that's how much damage you do, which, isn't a whole lot. I mean, to be fair, it's a physical versus an STR. And you got in-characters that aren't doing a lot of damage. So, fair enough. Though with crits, as you can see, they can do a bit more damage, which is good. Alright, guys, so now we're just back to his prior to his rage state. So as you can see, you know, it will go back and it just kind of rinses and repeats until you finish them off, okay? And because I don't do enough damage, it doesn't really matter. Like, the Beerus can do all the super attacks he wants, but it's not going to do anything at all, to be honest, unless it's in the last slot against Cybermen. Alright, guys, so this is going to be the last rotation. Now I'm going to pop off the active skill for the GT 7th year, and because I can get him a max amount of, like, a good amount of orbs, at least the 18 key, it's a good opportunity to pop this off and get critical hits per super attack. I still think if you have to put active skills, this is probably within the top 5 best active skill super attacks in the entire game. It's so clean and it's so well taken from the Dragon Ball Fighters, sorry. It's absolutely flush. It's beautiful, it's finesse, and I love it. A good 5, nearly 6 mil damage, which is great. So we'll give him all of those orbs, all the 7 orbs, get him this 18 key, and then we'll just give the rest to Disco Gogeta. We'll see how it all goes. But either way, like, that's pretty much the event. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Not too hard. You don't spend a lot of time. Oh, I just didn't make it. Ah, I'm so close. That's all right. Well, look, guys, obviously I'm going to finish the next rotation with, you know, the Vegeta and Trunks. So there's that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, guys. It's not too hard. Again, different methods you can go about this, different teams you can use. Go with it however you like. Again, if you want to refer to the method I did it, feel free to look at it and go for it from there, okay? Let us know what you think, guys. Put your comment in the description. What team did you use? How did you run it? Let the community know. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye. This is done.